Yes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our quick stop for this week. So we're going to be talking about standing out on social media in a good way. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Mallory Metz. I'm a career consultant for the College of Health Sciences, and I also work with our exploratory students. And then I'm joined by our new career consultant.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Harris. I too am a career consultant working with students in the College of Business. And I am new. This is my third week here at TWU. So loving every second.
Yes. So we're going to kind of split this up and go over all of the important things that you need to know about standing out on social media. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask, raise your hand, put it in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. So to get us started, it's kind of important to look at some of those statistics and get some background of why does this even matter. So according to a 2018 Career Builder survey, 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates during the hiring process, which is a really big number and big percentage. About 43% of employers use social media to check on their current employees. So even once you get hired, a lot of employers are still looking at your social media and still seeing what your activity looks like on there. That's really important to know because you want to make sure that you're putting and portraying your best self on those platforms. So according to that same study, it found that employers, 58% of employers are looking for information supporting the candidate's job qualifications. 50% want to ensure the candidate has a professional online persona. We're going to talk about that a little bit more and what you can do to make sure that you have one. 34% wanted to see what other people are posting about the candidate. Emily and I were actually just talking about this and just how you can also see what other people are doing and how they're interacting with others online. That's something just to keep in mind. And 24% are looking for reasons not to hire someone. So in this day and age, social media is really important and can really impact your job search hunt. So, like I said earlier, we're going to be focusing on two main parts today. So, we're going to first look at the do's and don'ts of social media and the different platforms. And then we're also going to talk about maximizing your presence on LinkedIn, which is the more professional social media platform. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Emily to talk us through those do's and don'ts.
Awesome. So I'm going to be, oh yes, Debbie, do you have a question? You're on mute.
Yes, I have a question. How many social media platforms are there and what are they?
That's a great question. So there are several. The most common ones, if you think about it, are going to be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. There's Tumblr, Reddit. There's all sorts of different social media platforms, but those are your most common: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Those are kind of the four main ones that I'm going to be focusing on today. And then Mallory is going to talk us through LinkedIn and utilizing that as a social media platform as well.
So you're saying employers actually go to, I can understand Facebook and LinkedIn, but they actually go to those others?
They may. It depends on what it is that they're looking for. I think Facebook is oftentimes the most, that's the easiest to go to because you can simply search people by name and location, and it's a lot easier to pull up a specific person through Facebook, just like a search engine, as opposed to on Instagram or Twitter. Now, if they know for certain that you have those accounts, then they may go straight to those, but Facebook is most likely going to be the starting point, and then they'll kind of do a dive from there.
Okay.
Great questions. All right, so before we dive in, I think it's important to keep in mind that social media is something that we use regularly, right? On a daily basis. In fact, I think I just heard this morning that adults spend roughly 113 minutes a day on social media. And so that's a lot of minutes. That's a lot of time. And I think sometimes we forget that social media is more than just a platform for entertainment, but it is also the way that we market ourselves to the entire world. And so what you're posting on social media is oftentimes a direct reflection, or can be seen as a direct reflection of who you are. So with that being said, it's always important to think before you post. We never want to just, post based off of emotion or on a whim or without doing research. Anytime that we're posting on social media, we really want to be intentional about what we're putting out there and what message we're conveying. So to do so, I've put together some do's and don'ts. A couple of things to consider avoiding posting. Negative rants. So this is huge. When an employer goes to your Facebook and they see a long post ranting negatively about work, that may give them the impression that you are dissatisfied with your job. And when you are dissatisfied, you take that out on social media. And that's not something that employers want their employees to be doing. They want to see that you are willing to go and communicate your concerns and frustrations directly to them instead of posting them for the world to see. So always avoid doing that, posting negative rants about work, but also politics and religion. These are some of those hot topics that are controversial, can stir up a lot of emotion. And so it's always best to just avoid posting about those things as best as possible. Also, this should go without saying, but unfortunately, we live in a day and age where it's very easy for you to publicize every piece of your life, every detail. And one of those things is illegal activity. Never post about illegal activity on social media. All right. It can come back to bite you in the end. And so you just want to always make sure that you're being very mindful about what types of activities you're posting and making sure that they are within the law. Sensitive material. This includes graphic images or videos or information, whether that's about a friend or maybe posting a screenshot of a picture that's got somebody's phone number on it. Just being really mindful about posting secure and sensitive information and graphic information on your social media as well. And again, these are all things that can be perceived as negative or disturbing or uncomfortable for other folks oftentimes. When it comes to pictures in your social media, one thing you can do is go in and untag yourself from any pictures or images that paint you in a negative light. Okay, so if you have a friend that loves to tag you in pictures and doesn't give you a heads up, you can go to your profile and view it and just go through and delete things or hide certain things from your timeline or untag yourself from pictures if you don't want those popping up. Question, Debbie?
I hate being so dumb about this, but if you don't ask, you don't know.
That's right.
But is there a way to actually program Facebook where it gets rid of those, or it's?
Yes, there is a way in your privacy settings. You can go in and you should be able to adjust your settings so that folks can't tag you in a picture, or I think it requires your permission. You have to go in and approve that picture to be posted to your timeline. So that's all going to be in your Facebook settings. And I've found that Facebook is really easy to navigate when it comes to kind of managing some of those settings, but there are ways that you can control that stuff. Great question. The other piece when it comes to pictures is making sure that you're posting a profile picture that represents how you want to be perceived by a general audience. So when people go to your profile picture is oftentimes the picture that is going to represent who you are and what you stand for. So maybe that's a picture of you with your friends or you with your family or you with a significant other, or it's just a picture of you. Nonetheless, just really be intentional about selecting a picture that is going to highlight you the best way that you want to be highlighted and how you want to be perceived, again, by a general audience. With the comment section, this is a really hot topic when it comes to social media is, do I engage in the comments or do I not? If you can't stay positive, I recommend staying away. I think that that's always a good rule of thumb, and it goes without saying, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, right? And as Mallory mentioned, we were just talking about this, we can often see when you're engaging with somebody else in the comment section, it actually comes through other people's timelines saying that you commented on a post. And so you may not think that other people are seeing your interactions on posts in the comment section, but those things do come through the timeline. And so if you have a private conversation that you want to have, I would leave it out of the comment section and have that conversation through direct message instead. But on the other hand, it is important to engage with friends and followers in the comment section. I'm a hypocrite when it comes to this. I use my social media mostly to, every once in a while I'll post, but I mostly like to review other people's stuff. So when people comment on my pictures or my posts, I'm not usually the best about responding to them, but going in and actually engaging with your followers, with your friends, and utilizing the comment section for good can actually show employers that you can communicate effectively and that you have great teamwork skills and that you work well with others. And I think that that says a lot from an employability standpoint. So really quick, just an easy checklist, manage your profile. So as I mentioned, go through your profile, delete people that you don't want to follow, unfriend people who post things that you disagree with, control your privacy settings, and again, go through your profile and delete things on there that you don't want. This kind of goes into reviewing your profile as well. Go in and review your profile from an employer or family member's perspective. So sometimes whenever a friend of mine or maybe my boss adds me on Facebook, I'll add them, I'll accept their friend request, but then I'll go through my Facebook profile and just look at everything and look at it from their perspective and just make sure that everything looks the way I want them to see it. And that's always helpful because I think sometimes we forget how cluttered our timelines get. And when we go back, we see that we've got all sorts of random things on there. So just keeping that clean and tidy is really going to help you look like you're utilizing your social media effectively. And last but not least, really be mindful of what post you're sharing and whose post you're sharing. Oftentimes we never really think about the name of the page of the post that we're sharing. We just share it out, but sometimes those may contain cuss words or words that indicate a certain political party or a certain stance on a belief situation, anything like that. And so you really want to just make sure that before you share a post to your personal page, you're double checking who that's coming from and making sure that that's not going to impact the way others perceive you. So if you've been to any of our presentations before or visited our office, you may have heard us refer to our NACE Competencies for Career Ready Workforce. This is a national association it's the National Association for Colleges and Employers. And what they've done is they've put together a list of 8 core competencies that they are looking for in candidates whenever they're interviewing and hiring folks. And these competencies are things that really come from your experiences and your interactions with others. And so you can actually showcase some of these things on your social media. So the reason I included this here is because I think that this is a really solid framework when you're thinking about, is my social media appropriate? Is my social media something that I want employers looking at? If you can go through your social media profiles and what you are posting, what you are sharing, or what you are doing matches up with some of these competencies, then I think you're in a good place. So for example, career and self-development. Are you posting pictures of you going to conferences for your field of study? Are you posting pictures of you at study groups with your friends, right? Are you communicating effectively? Are you posting well-written, well thought out, what's it called? Post and thank you, Mallory. When you're making posts, are they intentional? Are they thoughtful? Are you actually communicating effectively, right? When you're posting an article, are you thinking critically about both stances and are you highlighting both views of that article, right? So these are all things that you can be doing on your social media to kind of highlight your employability. And I want you to keep these in mind as Mallory goes through and talks about LinkedIn.
Yes. Okay. So those are very, very important and helpful tips, Emily. One thing that whenever you think about careers, probably one of the first things that comes up in social media, yes, all of those platforms as well, but LinkedIn, right? Because that's that professional network social media. So you definitely want to consider those competencies when thinking about your LinkedIn profile. And today we're going to talk about maximizing your presence on LinkedIn, which is something that I also had to learn. I did not use that, especially in high school, going into college. It wasn't as big of a thing, but now with networking and getting jobs and everything, it can be a great way to make some connections. So to start us off, a LinkedIn profile should show who you are, what you stand for, and what you're interested in. LinkedIn can be used for you to find employers, but also for them to find you, which is the really cool thing. It's a great way to showcase all of your skills and put that you're like open to work, and employers can actually search and match what they're looking for with you. So it kind of opens up the job market a little bit more. It can also be used to find the right job, like I mentioned, or even internship. It's great for connecting and strengthening those relationships with professionals, and even using LinkedIn Learning to learn some new skills to succeed in whatever you're interested in, or whatever your field of work is. So I'm going to keep going you have any questions, definitely let me know. So here are the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn. So on your profile, make sure your profile is complete. We're going to touch on what that looks like in a second. And you want to make sure to keep it up to date with any career changes. Just as we would encourage you to keep your resume up to date, you're going to want to do the same thing with your LinkedIn, just because that's what employers are readily looking at. For networking, definitely personalize your messaging connections. So whenever you get on LinkedIn and say you want to message an employer and say hello and introduce yourself and ask about their company, there's a generic message that already pops up. Even the little touches such as personalizing those messaging connections can really make you stand out from the thousands of other people on the platform. I don't even think it's thousands. There's 400 million users, the million of other users on the platform who are also looking for those same jobs. Definitely be proactive in connecting with others and interacting. Networking on LinkedIn kind of looks similar to Facebook, Instagram, those kinds of things. You can ask to connect with someone and then they can accept it or not. Be proactive in that. I think it automatically populates with some people that you might know. If you put in things such as your school or what field of study you're in, maybe what area you're working in, it'll also bring up some connections of people you might know, even your area, if that's something, if you're in the DFW area and you're interested in that. Also, join groups based on your industry and interests, and emphasis on both of those things. So yes, using LinkedIn to connect with people in your industry and staying up to date, networking within that, but also things that you're interested in, want to know more about. Like I said earlier, LinkedIn is a great way to learn new skills as well. When it comes to your platform activity, check your privacy settings, just like we said about all the other social medias. The thing with LinkedIn, and if you have one, I'm sure you know, is that it can also tell you who's viewed your profile. It kind of tracks if maybe it's employers or just other people. So check your privacy settings. Also, if maybe you're at a job currently and you're thinking about switching to another job and you're just doing some searching on there, and your boss also follows you on LinkedIn, maybe you want to make sure that they're not able to see that you're kind of considering other options. Also, stay active. I am a hypocrite on this one, and I am not as active as I should be on LinkedIn. Update your status, share articles, interact with posts, stay active to show that you are really committed to your online presence on LinkedIn and committed to that networking piece. As I mentioned earlier, take advantage of LinkedIn Learning. We on our website have a link directly to LinkedIn Learning. You can learn so many new skills there, get more information on things such as first thing that comes up to me is Excel, because it's something I could definitely learn a little bit more about. So any of those platforms, but also other soft skills, communication, and just learning more about careers in general. Okay, we're going to keep going. If you have any questions, let me know. So like I said earlier, you want to make sure that you have a complete profile. So what does that look like? This is your checklist to go through. A picture. Definitely have a photo of yourself on your LinkedIn profile. I was reading some articles and information about it, about how if you don't have a picture, a lot of times employers might just scroll right past. So make sure you have a professional photo. That's just you. You're the only one looking for a job or looking for connections. And if you can, making sure you have a nice plain background. LinkedIn also has a feature where if you have a picture of yourself, but maybe there's a lot going on in the back, you can replace that with just a plain background. A headline is a great place to highlight your strengths and personality. That comes next on your profile. It can really make you stand out from some other candidates. Your summary is great because it's going to showcase the professional core competencies, mission, motivation, and skills. If you're looking at a LinkedIn page, right, we're going to photo, headline, summary. Just like a summary and a resume does the same things, highlights the best, most strong skills that you have. Education, put your education on there because it is an amazing way to connect with alumni. Like I said earlier about how it will suggest people for you to connect with. If you have your education on there, it'll also suggest people who went to TWU, who graduated from here, who have worked here, to give you a little bit more insight and maybe build some connections with them. Experience, again, just like from a resume, put on there your current and past positions. There's a really cool feature where you can upload your resume and it takes some of that text out and puts it onto your LinkedIn profile. So it's very easy to use. Again, like a resume, make sure to be using those keywords and phrases that relate to the field that you're going into. As far as skills and endorsements, this is a great quick way for employers to see your proven skills. You can go in there and choose which skills that you believe you have and have them listed on there. And then it's great to ask some coworkers, maybe professors, other professionals in the field that you know that can also say that, yes, you have these skills, to endorse those skills and give a little bit more credibility to the things you've put on your LinkedIn. Moving on, other things to list. A lot of this is going to look similar to what's on a resume, just putting that on your LinkedIn as well. Putting organizations on there and making sure you list out what you did in those organizations, be that on campus, academic related or not. Volunteer experience is so valuable to highlight. Employers want to make sure that you're well-rounded. Honors and awards, again, just those little things that can really help make your profile stand out. Those courses are great because they show off your skills and interests, highlight your education a little bit more. On LinkedIn, it has a way to list those out underneath your education. So it's already kind of built in. You just need to put in that information. Again, kind of with organizations, the same thing with projects. Mention what you did and how you did it. That's the important thing. I think it's so easy to put just the title of whatever the project was, but listing out how you did that exactly is going to highlight those skills that you want employers to see. And recommendations. So recommendations from coworkers, from past bosses, supervisors are amazing because they give that extra credibility to your strengths and skills, and they live on your feed so that everyone else can see them as well. So, does anyone have any questions about LinkedIn? That's the big overview of that one, the more professional social media, or any of those other social media sites that you would like to ask. Yes.
Could you go back to the other slide? I was
Sure.
thinking of a question while you were doing that, and it just skipped.
That's fine. This one or the previous one?
I guess the previous one.
Okay.
Go back to the other one, the one we just left.
This one.
Oh, organizations.
Mhm.
What if you're a member, but you actually don't do anything for them?
Yeah, and that's fine as well. As on a resume and on LinkedIn, you can just list on there that you're a member.
Okay.
Member, name of it, and then the amount of time.
Okay, well, as far as, I guess you could put the date that you started?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and if you're
Okay.
currently still a member in it, like 2018 to present or what have you.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's got it.
Okay.
Oh, the courses.
Yes.
I've taken a lot of courses. I guess mainly they, like I'm studying psychology.
Mhm.
So I want to go into that field. So I guess the most important ones would be the ones that I took concerning psychology.
Yes, yes. If that's what you're looking to go into, definitely put those. And I always recommend to put, I know TW has them because I've looked through the courses here, to put those courses that make you stand out and are like specialized. So like, I know that I took some courses in psych with working with women specifically. So that's something that's like specially offered. So putting that in there too can help you stand out.
And I'm going to ask a kind of a dumb question.
That's okay.
We're not, you're not suggesting to put your grades in there, are you?
Right. Yeah, not your grades. Okay, caveat. Yes, you can list those things on there if you would like, a GPA, graduation status, those kinds of things. You can do that, but you definitely do not have to at all. You can just list out like some courses you've taken if you just want to highlight like, hey, I'm interested in working in this area of psychology, and I've taken the courses to also go along with that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, thank you for all of the questions. Emily, is there anything else before we wrap up that we missed?
Nothing that I can think of, but we appreciate y'all coming, and
Yeah.
we're here to answer any questions that y'all have. So feel free to either reach out to us via email or make an appointment through Handshake. We'd be happy to sit down and either review your social media with you or answer any additional questions that y'all may have.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for coming, y'all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.